approve the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Second? Second by Ms. Valtico. Any objections? Approved. Approval of the minutes of the April 30th, 2019 meeting. I hope everyone's had a chance to review it. Motion by Denise, second by Georgie. Any objections? Approved. We'll move on to recognition and updates. Carr?
Are we going in ascending or descending order?
Let's go in ascending order.
Ascending order. Okay, so ascending order. First up is Mr. Gary Guy. 25 years of service. There you go. That's a life to it. Break it up.
You're looking good today.
All three.
That's that looks like the church outfit.
It is.
Boy, this is great. These two guys, just a little preview. These two guys have pretty much done it all here at CDTA. Gary's grown up here in a lot of ways. Right?
I have.
You're the one who talked about the other way. I said, come on, be nice to yourself.
I told Carl I'm 25 years and 40 pounds heavier.
Well, that happens to a lot of
Yeah.
us, or our hair, or whatever. Gary was introduced to CDTA by his stepfather when he was 4 years old. He still remembers it. He remembers sitting behind the wheel of a fishbowl bus at that young age, pretending to pick up customers.
Yeah.
So even then, he was thinking about customer service. His love for transportation never went away. He found his way back to CDTA, began with us in 1994, and really is, I talk about this all the time, but it's true. He is the classic career ladder at CDTA. Started as a star driver, moved over to the fixed route side in Albany, was promoted to street supervisor, and 14 years ago was promoted to management. Most people think that's a promotion.
Yes.
As a transportation superintendent. Yeah, some might be said sometimes. As a transportation superintendent, you may remember, spent several years in field operations, organizing how we supervise out on the street, and has spent the last 5 years in the Schenectady division as a superintendent there. I think some of you noticed, not only has Gary enjoyed his professional life here at CDTA, but he made an important personal connection as well during his career here. In 2003, these are your words, not mine, Gary met the love of his life while working with her on the installation of our radio system. Bob Sears is looking around. He didn't invite her. That lovely lady is Terry Guy, who's an applications administrator on the IT staff. I don't know if Terry take the day off.
She's working.
But Gary says, looking back on his 25 years with the company, he loves his job more now than he did when he walked through the doors 25 years ago. He really enjoys being in the position he's in. He spends a lot of time in community relations division. His division has become known for that. They do a lot of work in the city of Schenectady. He's also a member of the Harvest Church in Clifton Park, where he volunteers in the TV and usher ministries. Gary believes if you love what you do, you'll never have to work a day in your life. How true that is. We did pin him down and told him to set a goal. When are you going to retire? And he said at least 40 years of service. So congratulations to Gary Guy. 25 years of great service to our company.
Looks great, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, appreciate it.
Second, Mr. Don Brooks, Master Technician, 40 years of service. This is Don Brooks Sr., Donald Brooks, huh? Okay, Donald Brooks Sr., but everybody here calls him Donnie. These are the once a year maybe awards, maybe 40 years. It's a dying breed. You're not going to see too many more Don Brooks unless Gary Guy somehow figures a way to last 15 more years. You appreciate this type of loyalty, dedication. We all have up days and down days. We complain a lot. Gosh, I got to go work every day. Don has those days. I have those days. But you persevere, and 40 years later, it's quite the track record of success. So a little about Don. I don't know who got this information out of you, but I'm going to assume most of it's true. Before joining CDTA, he worked at a few gas stations during his high school years, and then was a technician at a local car dealership before making the move to CDTA at the tender age of 19. If you do the quick math, you can figure out how old Don is. He decided to join the CDTA family because he saw it as one of the best places to work in the capital region. And I'm sure he still feels that way today, most of the time.
Most of the time.
He doesn't really want to do any more labor negotiations, but other than that, most days are fun. Donnie started out, sort of the old-fashioned way in maintenance, as most of the people did back then. You started as a cleaner. You swept buses, you cleaned buses. You basically hung around the bus business and were taught, learned, and the good people like Don were able to, harness the information, harness the knowledge, and grow and become, as Don has said, a master technician. Don has been very active with the Amalgamated Transit Union, recently serving a 3-year term as vice chairman. Not only does he look out for all the workers here, I think he's always had the best interest of the company in his heart. And working at CDTA is a family affair.
That's true.
There are a lot of Brookses around. His son Chris is a supervisor and very involved in community events and outreach in our Schenectady division. His brother Floyd works in the Albany stockroom, but Floyd's a junior man. He's only been here 29 years. In his free time, Don likes to hunt, camp, and check out the demolition derby when it's in town. I don't see anything you hear about all the grandkids.
No.
But there's a herd of them.
22.
22.
And
Two great grandchildren. How many on the way?
None yet.
Usually I'll ask Donnie whenever I see him, hey, how many on the way? There's usually a number along the way. It's a big, big family. He's a country music fan and enjoys good steak and seafood pretty much any time. When asked about his plans for retirement, Donnie did not come clean, just saying that he wants to spend time with his family. So I guess you want to work, spend time with your family. He's been a part of the CDTA family as long as I've been here, as long as just about everybody else. He's a credit to our company, he's a credit to his family, Don Brooks Sr. That's a quick 65 years. So if those two guys decided tomorrow not to come to work, I'm not quite sure how we get buses out in Schenectady. We'll probably have to call them and get down on one knee. But besides the loyalty and the dedication, just two really nice people. That's sort of the common theme for me. As you get older, you realize that nice people always rank ahead of not so nice people. They're really good guys.
So we'll move on to committee reports. The first committee is the Board Operation Committee. I'll provide the committee met on May 20th here at the CDTA offices. Quickly, Lisa Morella provided an update on advocacy activities for the past 30 days. As the legislature nears the end of session, she expects a good deal of activity and she'll keep us informed. Carm provided a closeout report of last year's company work plan. We talked at length about the activities moving forward for the next 12 to 16 months and the challenge of keeping our agenda amidst the many projects we have before us. Carm will provide a more refined plan at our June meeting. Mike Collins gave us an update on the wellness center that's being considered here at CDTA, partnering with CDPHP to improve the overall health and well-being of our employees. Lastly, we discussed the Uncle Sam Transit Center and its status as it advances through the eminent domain process. The next meeting of the Board Operations Committee is scheduled for June 12th at 7:45 a.m. Any questions about that meeting?
Where are we in that eminent domain process?
Well, let's see, we've done the formal legal process and we're now being.
Yeah, there's kind of two halves, an Article 2 and an Article 4 proceeding. The Article 2 kind of warrants the determination in need that we were successful with. That's all behind us. The Article 4 is actually the process of taking control of the property. That's being appealed. Recently, the latest response deadline date to the court, they requested 3 extra weeks for that. We actually denied the request. They requested it through the actual court themselves. The court actually approved the request and gave them 3 extra weeks to file the latest round of responses. And that deadline, I think is probably the end of this week. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head. And at that point, we hear about next steps.
I think in all fairness, we talked to the committee about, maybe evaluating where we are, where the project is. Because it's likely that these series of steps might continue for some time. And with BRT, moving forward very, very quickly, we ought to decide what the northern terminal is going to look like and or what it's going to be.
Next, we'll move on to the next committee report, which is the Performance Monitoring and Audit Committee. I'll provide that report as well. They met on May 22nd, 12 noon here at 110 Waterville East Avenue. There's a series of action items, 5 different action items on the agenda today. So let me start with the Audit Committee report. Donna Gonser and Seth Ennard from Lumsden and McCormick, our external auditors, presented the draft FY 2019 year-end audit. They characterized the audit as a clean and unqualified audit with no findings or weaknesses. In their presentation to the committee, they guided us through the audit process, their audit approach, their observations, recommendations, and they reviewed the balance sheet. The most significant financial change in the audit is the new GASB 75 standard for post-employment benefits other than pensions, which requires recording a full $90 million liability on the balance sheet for the first time. This is an accounting adjustment, not a cash-related issue. At this time, we need a motion to approve the fiscal year 2019 financial statements and compliance summary prepared by Lumsden and McCormick. Can we get a motion on that?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not hearing any. Call the question. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Approved unanimously. Thank you.
I abstain.
Mr. Stacker abstains. Next item, we have a series of fleet replacement issues that were discussed and recommended for approval today. First are the purchase of paratransit vehicles. In 2016, the CDTA board awarded a 5-year contract to Shepherd Brothers for the purchase of paratransit vehicles. As part of our annual purchase plan, staff recommends that we buy 7 vehicles from the contract to replace 7 vehicles that have reached the end of their useful life. This time we need a motion to approve the purchase of 7 vehicles of Shepherd Brothers of Canandaigua, New York, in the amount of $688,178. Can I get a motion on that?
Second.
Either way.
Motion by Mr. Stacker, second by Mrs. Figueroa. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. Another abstention from Mr. Schaefer. Next item is the approval to purchase fixed route vehicles. 2016, the CBTA board awarded a 5-year contract to the Gillig Corporation of Hayward, California for 40-foot regular route buses. As part of our annual purchasing plan, staff is recommending 2 orders. The first order is for 12 standard 40-foot vehicles. The second order is for 20 BRT-style vehicles, which will be used for the river corridor service when it comes online in 2020. At this time, we need a motion to approve Resolution 15-2019 for the purchase of 32 vehicles in all from Gillig Corporation of Hayward, California, in the amount of $17,861,288.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cashone, seconded by Mrs. Valentico. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, go ahead. You may answer my question. Go ahead.
A clarification. The 12 buses are the regular replacement annual number that you should be using. It ranges 12 to 15, and then 20 come about because we're not moving the project, but really come about because of the award of the CIG grant to support the BRT, and we have in hand a letter of no prejudice, which allows us now to make purchases, not necessarily be reimbursed, make purchases on behalf of them. That wasn't my question.
And I apologize for missing the committee meeting because this might have been discussed there, but we had lots of hopes that we might be able to electrify the corridor. Is that a dead issue or just timing isn't conducive to allowing for the buses to be here on time?
I'd like to put the timing first, dead second, because if you say dead, timing is irrelevant. We haven't been able to put the funding in place to do that. Just to refresh everyone's memory, what Dave's really getting at there is the delta. What we're looking for, at least the delta or the full amount for electrification. We've yet to identify the fund source. So I don't think it's dead, but there will come a point of no return. I would imagine the latest we could make that change is just before the assembly line. That would be.
It's typically probably 6 to 9 months prior to delivery.
So we have a little time, and we're working on it. You know, it's on our advocacy agenda, but you have to put the money in place in order to make that happen.
Yes.
Does the delta include the present value of weighted fuel costs for electric buses? You may want to take that into consideration. Weighted maintenance costs can be anticipated, but hard to quantify at this point.
Yeah, we could do that. It's still a pretty large number. It's go up $400,000 a unit, so times 20. We're looking for $20 million at least. We preferred, and every request we've made is for the full cost of the vehicles. You know, at that point, we would then shift the money around. This is before we had this CIG award. We're in a better position now. Frankly, if we could get the delta, we'd be very comfortable moving over up to 20 electric buses. I was confused because of the award of the CIG money. We now have a little bit of liberty, so that really is only the delta required, not the full.
Yes.
Yeah, and the delivery on those 20 buses would be 2021 or 20?
No, 2020, late summer. Late
So
summer.
we really only have, 3 months before we would have to
6
have
months.
that. 6 months at the most?
This is the best time to be talking about it, actually. We had always anticipated this being off budget, and Lisa spoke at the board operations committee that we are talking about capital money. It's not a dead discussion, but we're literally running out of time, but not a dead discussion. It's still on our agenda.
Any other questions or comments or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Mr. Schaefer. Approved. Next business item is approved purchase of 2 motor coaches for the NX service. The committee was explaining that CDTA uses a piggyback option to buy commuter-style buses for our NX service that connects Saratoga County and downtown Albany. We piggyback off a contract that the Connecticut Department of Transportation has the MCI Corporation. Staff has reviewed the vehicle and contract specifications, finds the 2.3% price increase from last year to be fair and reasonable. The price, it was explained to us, is significantly less than if CDTA procured the vehicles on our own. We need a motion to, we will execute our own agreement with MCI for the purchase. At this time, we need a motion to approve resolution 16, 2019. 2 motor coaches from MCI of Schaumburg, Illinois, at a cost of $1,007,876. Can I get a motion, please? Back row, second. By Denise. Any questions or comments? Mark?
Yeah, I have a question about NX buses. I'm not sure it's germane to this issue, but I'm not sure where else on the agenda I could raise it. Which is just the rush hour from Empire State Plaza going northbound. The NX buses sort of pile up and sit there under the overpass at Madison Avenue. And I'm wondering if they can crowd out the CDPA and bring their buses. I'm wondering if the NX buses could depart from the other side of the street, the museum side. So that's just something to think about. It would reduce that congestion significantly if it wouldn't put them too much out of their way getting onto the Northway.
No, I don't have we'll look at that. I don't have an answer on that, why that wouldn't be possible. We're also, Mark, we are working with OGS to shift buses actually down below. So some buses are going into, which is reducing that congestion. And in fact, the NX buses may be likely candidates to eventually be down there because of the, frankly, majority of that ridership is our state. But we'll look into the other side. That might be workable as well.
And these buses that we're replacing are at least 12 years old, the 2? Is that why?
12 months, are they different?
Yes, they are, they're 2006 vehicles, and they have over 750,000 miles.
Oh, wow. And they'll have improved amenities, I assume? There's like a 2% increase from last year?
Yeah, everything is updated.
Yeah.
All new technology, all new emissions, absolutely.
Better emission standards than the last one, too?
And what was the, just for the people who weren't at the committee meeting, Lance, do you have an estimate of the delta if we were to do it ourselves, procure these ourselves?
So I think we were right around 500,000 for these. Probably close to another 150,000 on top of that. We really benefited from the pricing.
We were prepared to issue our own RFP 2 years ago when we were made aware of this opportunity. And frankly, because the opportunity is there and we've done it more than once, FTA is familiar with us, MCI is familiar with us, Connecticut DOT is familiar with us. It's in our best interest to keep piggybacking. The FTA has gotten a little tighter on this. So the fact that it's allowable for us, I think, is a good thing.
Is this happening more on a national level too, more piggybacking? It just seems like everything's after, like, it could be more of a collaborative event for.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
They're actually discouraged.
Why is that?
Don't know.
That's absurd.
I said it would make sense.
That was why I made the previous comment. I'm glad you asked the question. It would make more sense. I mean, I guess you could understand from the FTA's point of perspective. You know, now procurements are coming from all these different directions, and I guess it's difficult to keep track of everything. But here is a classic case of, you know, a larger contract benefiting more than just Connecticut DOT with a very fair price. And MCI is not complaining; they're selling more product.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor of resolution 17-2019, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Mr. Schaefer. Approved. Next item is contract award for the River BRT station. Invitation for bids were issued for infrastructure improvements on the river corridor. One bid was received from Callahan Industries of Albany. Staff polled other qualified firms to ensure specifications were not too limiting and determined the bid was not too restrictive. The single bid pricing was determined to be fair and reasonable, fell within 10% of the engineer's estimate. Based on this review, the staff is recommending the award of a contract for river corridor work to Callahan Industries, which has performed this type of work for CTA before. This is, if I remember correctly, the second phase of work on the river corridor. At this time, we need a motion for a single bid award to Callahan Industries of Albany for an amount of $4,337,579 with a contingency set aside of $867,516 for a total cost not to exceed $5,205,095. Can I get a motion for resolution 17-2019? Denise, thank you. Second by Mrs. Valentico. Any questions or comments on this resolution?
Just because of the importance of it, if it's okay with the chair, perhaps Chris could just give a quick summary of what this phase is. Again, this is a phase that we're moving quickly because of the grant award to get things in place and get construction activities moving. But Chris could talk about just quickly what this phase is.
Sure. We touched on this a little bit in the planning meeting on some of the river corridor BRT updates. Like we've discussed in the past, we assemble and construct and finance BRTs as funding becomes available in pieces and phases as we have access to those funds. The river BRT construction is broken into 3 phases. The first phase, which we call the TAP phase, you may recall that a few years ago that was awarded, and that work was completed at the end of last construction season along the corridor, and that involved curb cutouts, ADA ramps, some signalization improvements, lighting, things like that. No blue and silver stations yet. Phase 2, which is this award, again, the letter of no prejudice allows us to actually commence work on this piece. It's the next 7 or 8 stations. The first phase, phase 1, was about 7 stations. This second phase includes the first of the Q-jump lanes as well. The idea here is to substantially complete that construction this construction season with maybe some wrap up in the early spring. And the last phase, we will be developing either an IFB or an RFB for over the winter time. So stay tuned for hopefully an award recommendation for that. The goal there is to award that over the winter, begin construction of that as soon as spring hits in 2020. So that's substantially complete by the fall. So long story short, this is the second of 3 phases.
But the third phase is actual.
That kind of goes in parallel. Third phase is construction and infrastructure. There is another contract for actual shelter fabrication and installation. So that's another contract, which we have a contract for right now. What we don't know is it going to last long enough? Is the pricing where we want it? We may go back out to bid for that one just to make sure our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed, but we're looking at that right now. But that gets done by another contractor. That's a shelter manufacturer and installer. Yep.
Has Callahan done work for us before?
Lots. They did phase 1, they did Larkin, Washington, they even did 905 BRT.
Very reputable company.
And I see they have 2 WBE firms on their team. What percentage of the work will they be doing?
I don't have the number.
What was the goal?
I can get that to you.
Was it 20 or 30?
Yeah, I don't
a standard number.
Well, a standard company goal,
Yeah.
each project could be different.
Okay.
We'll get it to you.
We'll find out probably today.
That'd be helpful to have that
You bet.
in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Often it is in there, actually.
Yeah, I don't
But on the the form,
Yep.
has the list of names, but it might be helpful to have the percentage.
We'll get it to you.
Thanks. And, that's pretty good estimating where the 10% of a project like that would,
In this climate, this economic and construction climate, to say we were pleased is an understatement.
Yeah.
To say we were surprised is probably more spot on. We were ready for this to come in a lot higher. So I think the fact that Callahan is familiar with us, familiar with this work, helped a lot. Especially since it's a single one page.
Anything else? Not a call to question. I have a motion and second already. So all those in favor of resolution 17-2019, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? All right, we're all on board. Unanimous. Let me finish the committee report. The monthly management report, Mike Collins gave the report. It's 1 month into the fiscal year. Highlights were the mortgage reporting tax revenues were just missing the budget by about 1%. Customer fares exceeded budget by 1.5%. Wages were slightly under budget. Workers' compensation expenses were under budget. Fuel was under budget. All good stuff, but that's subject. The fuel is subject to change in June when the contract pricing changes upward. And for the first month of the fiscal year, we're in good financial position. Chris Desney gave the monthly non-financial report. Total ridership was up 5%. On-time performance was at 74%. Missed trips at 151, and we're seeing improvements in the month of May. There were 26 accidents in April. 10 were preventable. 26 were not. The call center processed 262 complaints, and there were almost 775,000 page views on the website. The next committee meeting is slated for Wednesday, June 19th at noon here at 110 Washington Avenue. All right, so I'm done talking for a little bit. The investment report, Denise?
There is no committee meeting during the month of May. There will be one in June, so we'll have a report that time.
The Strategic and Operational Planning Committee, Minus.
Jamie, thanks. The Strategic and Operational Planning Committee met last Thursday, May 23rd, 12 p.m. at 110 Waterville Ave. There were no consent agenda items. There were 2 administrative discussion items, first being the River Corridor BRT update. Ross Farrell gave an update on the River Corridor BRT. Much like the Red Line, the River BRT is funded and constructed in pieces. With the most recent completion of Phase 1 infrastructure and several grant award announcements, the River BRT is progressing well. To do the remaining work, many contracts and awards will be required. Some have been completed, some are in progress, some have yet to be awarded. A breakdown of the small starts in CMAQ 2 grants was provided, along with the details about 3 phases of River BRT construction in the Troy garage expansion. Many projects are aligned with local matches, which may consist of financial contributions, land swaps, or coordination of work in the same project area. The second item was the Washington Western Corridor BRT sub-project updates. Ross Farrell gave an update on the Washington Western BRT Corridor sub-projects. These contracts include work for shelters, Larkin Washington Station, Crossgates Mall, E-Tech in Harriman West, and New Albany downtown stations. TAP 2 will fund roadway intersection reconstruction, signals, pedestrian infrastructure, and site work at 2 stations. The total project cost is $5.5 million. Crossgates Mall work includes relocation of the existing shelter, parking lot reconfiguration, and a bus-only entrance to the lot. This provides for a pyramid to create pedestrian infrastructure from the hotel to the mall, and CDTA will significantly improve travel times while circulating around the property. There were no executive session items. The next meeting of this committee will be Thursday, June 20th, 12 p.m. at 110 Waterville Ave. And I would just like to, the committee would like to thank Chris, Ross, and staff for their hard work and presentation of the projects.
We do apologize for blowing up a couple of computers without attached. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just a couple of words, if you can kind of follow sort of the line of these projects, Washington Western is now where the river corridor was, I don't know, 3 years ago or so, where we're now assembling, you know, small amounts, $5 and $7 million pots, but smaller amounts of money, and now advancing infrastructure work or site-specific, like for example at Harriman, you know, there's going to be some work around the E-Tech building. There's going to be some work at the new engineering school at UAlbany, you know, along the corridor. So whether BRT Washington Western happens or not, those are good investments for CDTA and the City of Albany or at Crossgates and Town of Gilpin. So we'll continue. These 3 BRT projects are almost exactly alike in how they progressed from sort of seed money, seed projects to full-blown BRT. So we're about 3 years behind the river.
Yeah, I'd say less than that.
Less. And we are in the application process. Actually, have we been rated?
Yeah, we've been rated, just like with the river, we've submitted twice. We're about to, in this fall, we'll approach a 3rd time. And I think we mentioned it at committee and board before. Basically, the stopping point of preparing the materials before you get a grant award has been moved ahead in terms of the work you need to do. So normally you do these 10 things, or 100, or however many it is, to get your grant award. They're now requiring information and work that up until last year normally gets done after the grant is awarded. So we're now moving ahead with things that typically don't happen until after you get your grant award. So, you know, call it moving the finish line, call it whatever you want. So that's one of the reasons why we still have, you know, we're continuing to do this work. It'll get submitted again, that's one piece, but now we're doing other things that kind of extend beyond that traditional stopping point when you get your money.
And not to be lost in our discussion, I think everyone realizes this is why the state grant announcements are so important, because we now use that state money to leverage federal money and to basically prove to the FDA that we have a local match commitment. Because as we've discussed, you know, this has moved from about an 80, it used to be pretty religiously 80-20. It's kind of just sort of inched its way down to the river is 51-49, 52-48, maybe a little more, maybe 60-40, but you know, wouldn't surprise us if Washington Western is closer to that 51-49. And you know, I know Dave through the APTA commission follows this, but if you follow some of the announcements, the successful projects are coming in somewhere between that 51-49 and that 60-40. That's what the FDA is looking for. So I think we're in pretty good shape. I think actually Washington Western's in better shape today than it was a year ago because of the state of things.
You used the phrase full-blown BRT, and that reminded me that originally there was supposed to be some technology to change lights so that the BRT buses wouldn't have to wait for traffic lights. That doesn't seem to have happened. Is that still intended?
Happened where? On 905 or on the river?
905.
Oh, it's there.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Several.
There's 45 intersections
Yeah.
where there's covers.
It's an invisible feature.
Have you never did?
Yeah, you don't realize it until you do the calculation on the running time savings. You wouldn't achieve that savings without the signalization being in place. The same thing will happen on the river corridor. And the community sees the benefit too. I mean, we keep harping on that. Unfortunately, it's a benefit that you can't see it.
For an item that you can actually see a little more closely, if you look, probably most of the people have already seen this, stop at a queue jump lane.
Right.
So that's another example of this kind of, traffic, supplementing the traffic technologies. That's something you can actually physically see. I mean, you sit there and you look at the additional light designed for the bus, what's a little different than a traffic light, and watch it go green. There's a little line, and you see the bus pull out ahead of the regular vehicular traffic, which is as designed. So that one's a little easier to spot.
Last week's committee meeting was excellent for those of us who have not been on the board for a very long time. It really is a great presentation, and could have sat here for a lot longer and listened to all the details of it, but it was really great to get up to speed on so many things that are going on. Next item, item on the agenda is the CEO's report.
You skipped the committee, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, I skipped a committee. The last committee report is by Jackie Falzico.
All right, the Community and Stakeholder Relations Committee met last Friday, May 24th at 11:30 a.m. here at 110 Everglade Ave. There were no items scheduled for the consent agenda. There were 3 administrative discussion items. The first, Jonathan Scherzer gave an overview of our travel trainer program. CDTA has been offering travel training services throughout the Capital Region for the past 15 years. The service, predominantly used by seniors, people with disabilities, and students, is supported by New York State DOT funding. Trainers assist individuals and groups learning how to access public transit for work, social, and medical needs. Travel training is a complimentary service for residents who want to learn how to use CDTA's route network. Our trainers accompany customers until they feel comfortable riding alone. Travel trainers assess customer skills and abilities after attending an initial one-on-one session. Going off script a little bit, the presentation is very cool. I had known about this for years, but having the presenter go through like specific scenarios of how everything's sort of like case planned for an individual was very, very interesting. The second item was Jamie Watson giving the monthly community engagement media relations report. Her report highlighted media outreach and community engagement outcomes over the last month. She highlighted several larger stories that helped to further drive CDTA's mission and highlight our role as a community engagement partner, one of which was the American Idol event that came to town. And finally, the third item, Carmen Mike Collins gave an overview of the potential to house a CDPHP Wellness Center at CDTA headquarters. The facility would serve as an in-house health clinic where employees could go to be evaluated and treated for illness. The Wellness Center would also allow CDTA to bring state medical testing requirements in-house to help streamline costs and increase efficiency. I don't know if you want to touch on that at all, or?
Yeah, we talked about that. I thought we had a nice discussion. This is sort of something that's been bubbling, simmering for a while. CDPHP is leading this initiative, and we're pleased to be part of it. This will probably be cost neutral. We hope we'll fit up the space, a little similar cost of the testing that we already do, and then out of this will be the wellness center, the clinic that will be here, staffed by their personnel, their medical personnel, with the anticipation that if you bring employees and treatment closer together, it's in their best interest to be weller. This is a model that CDPHP is trying to go down. They have one other client who's doing it, but they're not as heavily invested. We'd be the first client locally that would embark on this. So it's uncharted territory, but pretty much everything you read about healthcare says that really one of the last ways to truly get reduction in healthcare expenses is to bring employees closer to understanding and working to improve them. So that would be the intent here. So we don't have a whole lot of details because we're sort of following their lead. They would be responsible for setting this up. biggest problem for us is we're so tight in space.
All right, and then the next committee meeting will be held, and I thought we changed the
We
date.
did, I circled that.
It's Thursday, June 20th at 10:45 a.m. at 110 Waterville Ave. We're moving the date to have that committee before the planning committee. And that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
And the intent there, after hearing input, is to sort of make it a little easier to get everyone engaged in all of these discussions. There are a lot of different things going on. It's hard to keep track. So instead of spreading this out over 3 days, we will try to compress this into 2. Well, it'll still be 3 days.
And who doesn't like a double header?
Listen, as Ernie Banks would say, let's play 2.
Now it's time for the CEO report.
Thanks. The beauty, I think, of good committee discussion and good committee reports is the need for me to comment is less. But I hope you're feeling the sense of energy and excitement. I've never seen the agenda so full of a variety of things and a variety of issues and new problems. How do you fund this? How are we going to work with this? For the last month or two, we've had discussion about BRT service and how are you going to operate it? It's great to have all this capital money. Well, we've got some relief because we have a state grant now that will fund the operations for the first 2 years, but it's our intent to operate it hopefully forever. So we're not out of the woods, so to speak. So there are a lot of things going on, and I think a lot of opportunity for us to continue to have these kinds of educations. Jamie and Dave are referring to them as maybe deeper dives into subject areas. So we're going to try to sort of set that up in some sort of logical sequence. But there are a lot of things going on, a lot of new announcements, it seems, every week. And I can tell you that our community partners are touching in with us, catching up with us. They want to be part of these activities. They want to be part of these projects. They want to know more. So I think it's kind of following along the road that we wanted to go down for some time. Jackie mentioned the Town of Colony and North County School District, the American Idol Welcome Home. I mean, literally, our guys and gals had about 48 hours notice. Hey, we need you to move 2,000 or 3,000. Actually, we need you to move people. There was no number. So we ended up moving about 2,000 people in about 2 hours. It was a Gary Guy production. He put it together. We still haven't figured out how we did it, but he did it. But that was pretty well publicized. What you may not have known about, we do this every year as part of our Universal Access Agreement with RPI. We move 5,000 people within the campus confines for their graduation, the commencement activities. We do it every year. The same set of street supervisors, almost the same set of drivers and superintendents. Put it all together every year, work with RPI. It is as close to flawless as I've seen in any of our operations. But 5,000 people on a Saturday, bang, 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 like nothing happened. This is where our people just sort of rise to a different level. It just never ceases to amaze me. Last week, a number of people were at APTA's mobility conference in Louisville, but most notably Mark Heichman, our reigning rodeo champs, the Activity Division, can't forget that. And our maintenance team, Kenny Staker Jr., Howard Teal, and Phil Haig, traveled to Louisville and did extremely well. Although everyone does used to be called the international. Everyone who does that comes back with a sort of different sort of outlook and says, "Wow, it's a different league when you go to these competitions." But the intent is twofold. Hopefully everybody has fun, participating. But they're exposed to stuff that's going on in the industry. They can attend the conference. We don't force them, but they do. They get to see what's going on in Louisville or Seattle, or hear about what's going on in Seattle, Columbus. So sort of a double pronged benefit for us. Rich Cordero, Jamie Watson, we're out there. Jamie's at in Chicago today. She's participates on the judging selection committee for the APNO Awards. She's embedded herself nicely. Just watch her grow from this experience. And I know she's been very helpful to Dave. Some of the events we're going to get the annuals, different things. Yeah, now you know how I feel.
My her off, she yanks me back.
Now you know how I feel. You know how I feel Monday through Friday. Actually, Saturday and Sunday too. If I'm not hearing it from my wife, one of these days I'll get it right. Also, you may have noted the uptick in ridership for the month. We're now comparing an apple to an apple. All year last year we struggled through a kind of an up and down year. The last 3 or 4 months, though, we're starting to see a nice comeback. And now that it's a pure apple to an apple with full conversion to Navigator, I'm not going to bet what's in my wallet on 5% for the year, but it's nice to get the year off on the right foot. I don't think we can underestimate the governor's announcements on some of the grant awards, in particular, including transit with the Downtown Revitalization Initiative Awards. Think about the conversations Dave and I had 10, 12 years ago. I think we finally we're at the table. When you're part of a Downtown Revitalization Award, now you're at least lining up with development activity in the community. We're mentioned in the regional submissions, and we're mentioned in local submissions. So, lining transit up with redevelopment economic activity is really happening in the region. I think governor's people have taken special note of that. You may have noticed downstairs, I'm not quite sure which way you come in, but we're just about done with what seems to be a forever rehabilitation project on the first floor. We will move people to the new offices in a matter of a week or two. That's actually right below us. So if you get off the elevator and you feel like taking a peek, I think the doors are unlocked. That will house Star Call Center, and then the whole dispatch function, which is facing out towards the driver's room, and the superintendents and transportation will be housed in this, which is the northeast corner of the building. Once all the moves occur, that last little piece of real estate can be rehabilitated, and hopefully in about 60 days, there's no more construction. Although someone said, well, it's so long, we'll start all over again, sort of like your house. But when that's done, the first floor from, actually, if you include human resources, we did do some, maybe a detailed rehabilitation. We sort of did the home improvement version. The whole first floor will have been renovated over a span of about 3 years. So I can tell you that most of the people who work on the first floor can't wait for this. Just want a special note to all the staff that works on state and federal grants. And it's pretty much everybody in the room and then some. There are some leaders, but the work that they've done to get us to where we are today is just phenomenal. Most of these grants are competitive grants, meaning you're competing with another city throughout the country, or another transit system throughout the country, or within the state. A lot of those economic development awards are competitive grants. We've hit on a bunch of them, and it's really the hours of work that go into these grant submissions is mind-boggling. And as Chris said, at least on the FTA, the finish line keeps getting moved out, and we're constantly meetings. I'll come in here and on a conference call or a webinar. They've done outstanding work. Hats off to them. The activity report is pretty self-explanatory, but if anyone has a question about any of those activities, feel free to let me know. As we enter summer, this used to be the time where people just took vacation, took time off, and waited for September to come around. That's not the case anymore. Still take vacation, but these projects, these deadlines don't change. So we'll be at it full force. Lots of great things going on. Sometimes one doesn't look like it has anything to do with the other until you move it along a little further and mature. We're doing some good stuff.
Okay. Any questions for Carl?
Just a comment on the mobility conference. You mentioned Jamie being at the awards committee today. So we're precluded from applying for awards for the time she's on that committee, but the safety and security awards are issued at the mobility conference. And Rich and Jamie and I sat through the nice videos, presentations, and I think all three of us came away with, as much as they were nice, it was yeah, we do that, we do that, we do that. Afterwards, Rich said that we are doing something that he thinks is award-winning. So Jamie does not judge that award, so we're not precluded from issuing, from entering safety and security. And if you support Rich's award-winning thought on why we are award-winning, I would encourage that we submit.
Absolutely. As long as somebody does a submission, right? Yeah, there's, you try not to do this, Dave described, try not to get caught up, we do that, we do that, we do that. Rather, what you hopefully try to do is, well, we could do that, or we could take our award-winning thing and make it better. But suffice to say, we do it with a pretty lean group. We've talked about another deep dive that we've got to get into. We may need to add a little to the lean group with some of the things that are before us. I sent you know, Lance Sarcone is our interim director of operations. And really that's another career ladder thing, and nothing makes me prouder than to see another one of our staff, who walked in, he tells me a story all the time. He walked in here, as a third shift cleaner, working third shift for several years, not sure if he was going to stay, because he hated third shift. But, he stayed, he persevered, and look where he is today. And he's where he is today, I can tell you honestly, because people around the room have confidence in him. I have confidence in him. And that's why we made that move. See where it goes, have some time to watch it develop. But, when you work somewhere and you work hard, you have people's confidence. I think then you start to develop award-winning programs. Thanks for the board support. You let us do the things that we're doing. You provide the vision. You sort of set us in a direction. I keep coming back to this "we have to matter" discussion that Dave and I had. And really, that was sort of setting the ship in a direction. We have to matter. It wasn't much more than that. How do we get to the table? There's not a playbook for that. So we just kept working. BRTs. I think the FDA likes us. I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but they like us. We're complete. We don't give them a hard time. We say thank you. There's not a secret to some of this stuff, but it's just persistence. So Rich Cordero's got an award-winning program. We'll enter. And we'll make sure Jamie is the judge.
Okay. Very good.
I noticed the getting people to special big events, the American Idol, the American graduation, and it occurred to me there are times when at the arena that or big programs at Proctor's or SPAC, if you have some surge capacity and ability to communicate that we're able to serve those events,
Yep.
You know, a lot of those are the evenings, RPI was on the weekends. SPAC is seasonal. But that's something that would be nice, from my point of view as a writer, you know, to have, I can get to Proctor's as it is in the evening, you know, sometimes the last 9:05 leaves before the show ends. But, you know, coordinating schedules with those things, I think would be a good thing for.
And we're trying to do that more and more. I'm surprised, checking at 9:05, I thought we had that lined up.
That may be
Yeah.
an obsolete memory.
And we're also getting a little bit more on the surge thing. We're trying to get a little bit more active on, so, you know, Brooks here, we're doing a little bit more on social media to let people know what's available. Sometimes that's really what it is. There's no need to do anything extra. It's just letting people know what's available. We are tied in with Proctor's. We've got a relationship with SPAC. We want it to be better. But it kind of comes back to, you know, I think we can develop our relationships a little bit better to be more actively involved. The Times Union Center is in a perfect spot for us, but not everything is in a perfect spot, and not everything happens at the Times Union Center. So, yeah, there's more work to be done. And we're trying to use all the tools available, not just the conventional tools, but not so conventional tools. We're getting better at social media. The fact that we now have a person who is like, that's what she does. She's in charge of it. I never thought I'd see the day. Brooke's doing a great job already. Thanks.
Any other observations or comments? No executive session today. Anything to go to the order? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So
Second. Thank you, everyone, for coming.